Big Finish's 60th anniversary celebration, Once and Future, is over. Now, let's start and rank these stories from our least favourite to our favourite.
Starting off in eighth place, we have gone for Time Lord Immemorial, the Ninth Doctor episode of Once and Future, which also featured David Warner as the Unbound Doctor. A combo that should have worked so well, but it just feels like they're falling through a very thin plot, which doesn't have a whole lot going for it. It feels like a complete sidestep from the main Once and Future story yet again, despite being the penultimate in the main arc of the series. It does very much feel like it was thrown on there because they got Christopher Eccleston at the 11th hour. It just feels like a waste of potential, sadly, which sums up a lot of Once and Future. Yeah, it's just characters going through these settings and scenarios, reacting to things, but not really doing much in and of themselves. It's very bland and paper thin plot wise. So, yeah, we are not a fan of Time of the Memorial, sadly.
Number 7, we have Where It All Started, Past Lives. Maybe we should have stayed cleared from the whole series if this was the opener. So we have the Fourth Doctor, Sarah Jane, the monk, Osgood, and Kate Stewart. And this, we were very lenient at the time, going, well, it's the start of this sort of series. We'll see how it progresses. And we have the whole sort of degeneration plot introduced, which causes a bit of a sour taste in my mouth in the terms of what it does with the Fourth Doctor and Sarah. As you know, Sarah I think is oddly characterized within this because this is set after, pretty much straight after the Hand of Fear, I feel, from memory. And then we have the Fourth Doctor coming back, the Doctor, who she cherishes, and yet there's no real meet to that sort of reunion. It's just sort of, oh, hi Sarah, let's carry on with this adventure and deal with some crocodiles. And yeah, the crocodile threat on like the torn hill, it just falls into generic sci-fi, and yeah, it's just a weird mishmash, and I guess pretty much sums up Once and Future, a weird mishmash of characters.
Sixth place is where all the answers come along. It is The Union, starring Paul McGann, Tom Baker, Carol Ann Ford, and Alex Kingston. It's the Doctor's past and his future clashing together in the forms of Susan and River Song. And it gives some satisfying answers, I will say. Like, on paper, this does all make sense and wrap up what was set up before this quite neatly. But that's about all I can say that's positive plot wise, because even though the what is good, the how, the way it's executed just feels very bland, drawn out, and somehow rushed at the same time. Like, it's constantly going from place to place to place, but it never feels like it's actually moving as a plot. Yeah, it's another one that left us cold, really.
At number 5, well, again, sort of on the cold feeling, we have the dying Eye of Orion, which features in The Artist at the End of Time, the Fifth Doctor and Jenny. Now, this would have been exciting if they hadn't already done this combo in The Legacy of Time. So this has the Fifth Doctor on a mission to find his daughter. This is sort of where we left off in Past Lives, and we are at this gallery where this painter, the curator, is basically causing destruction of the universe. Everything he paints decides to burn and crumble away. And yeah, this story crumbles away pretty quickly, and I feel like this is very generic Doctor and companion. I think that the Doctor and companion can be interchanged. It is just, yeah, a very atypical trad Doctor Who story.
We are into the top half of our list now, and coming in at number 4, it is A Genius for War, the Seventh Doctor thrown into the Time War, fighting against Davros and Daleks, and alongside the General and Fecklin. In some ways feels like a traditional Time War story, but one of the better ones, I think, at least. It just is a bit of an odd sidestep in a Once and Future arc, which is already quite thin. It ends up feeling like every episode is a sidestep by this point, which is a shame. Yeah, it does at least do something quite neat with the degeneration, though, and it does feel right to have the Seventh Doctor in the Time War. You know, he's the master manipulator. We've seen what he's like against the Daleks in Remembrance of the Daleks. And so having him here again, facing off against Terry Malloy as Davros, does feel quite right in this higher stakes setting. It's pretty fun, pretty traditional at the same time. Nothing groundbreaking, but it is at least a fun time. So yeah, A Genius for War. We get into the good stuff now.
Just reaching the top 3 now. So at number 3, we have Coda, which isn't really part of Once and Future. It's a nice little epilogue to it, and hopefully will leave a better taste in your mouth from the previous releases we've mentioned. So this features the Fugitive Doctor and the War Doctor, the two rogue doctors, and this really puts them front and center, giving them their own little anniversary special, as we have the Fugitive Doctor hunting the War Doctor, and the War Doctor going, well, you know what, let's meet on this planet and we'll have a fight and bring an army and we'll have a good time. And that army is Vord and a Tudor galleon ship with Queen Elizabeth I. So a nice little link back to Day of the Doctor, and with Bernie Summerfield caught in the crossfire, who is very much the anchor of this story, who knows and understands the Doctor's character and can see the essence of the character there, and sort of makes them sort of bash their head together going, look, you're better than this. You've been set up. And that's really lovely. And I think this being Jo Martin's debut story, that probably puts it on a little bit of a pedestal, getting that tantalizing glimpse of the Fugitive Doctor. And she absolutely nails it, alongside Jonathan Carley, who we love and adore. So yeah, what an ending for the Once and Future saga.
In second place, fittingly enough, is Two's Company. Now, this one caused a bit of an uproar when it was announced, because you had the Sixth Doctor, Jackie Tyler, Harry Sullivan, and Lady Christina all thrown into a story together, which just feels like such a random dartboard combination. And yet, it is a lot of fun. I think that's the main thing this one has going for it. It's just so much fun hearing these oddball characters interact. They shouldn't work, and yet they do. Jackie's reaction to the Sixth Doctor is brilliant. Harry is as bumbling and wonderful as ever. Lady Christina is doing her thing, and it all just works somehow. Up until about the final 5 minutes, where it just suddenly rushes to an odd conclusion. But other than that, it was a wild ride and just a fun time, really. And at this point, that's all I could ask of Once and Future, and I'm glad I got that out of it. So yeah, that is our second place. One left to go. Let's see what it is.
Drum roll, please. No surprise, it is Martian Invasion of Planetoid 50. Now, this is the most fun we had with Once and Future. It is our childhood Doctor, David Tennant, the 10th Doctor, in a very Stephen Moffat style story. It's Doctor Who meets War of the Worlds. Now, this is probably the longest in the actual series. The first 15 minutes, we have the wonderful Stephen Noonan playing the first Doctor, and yeah, just the combo of the 10th Doctor and Missy is just electric. Strax having his own little society underground, lots of humor and sharp dialogue, and yeah, just a real love letter to sci-fi and audio, really, with the sort of link back to War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
And that wraps up our rankings for Once and Future, going from Time Lord Immemorial to the Martian invasion of Planetoid 50. It was overall a bit of a disappointing ride, with the occasional high point here and there. But yeah, Once and Future is now behind us at least. It felt like it was making up things as it went along at times. You could definitely tell that there was a logistical nightmare getting this all completed. But it's behind us now. We can move on. We can get on with our lives. Let us know what your rankings are of Once and Future in the comments below. Were we too harsh? Were we too lenient? Please do share all your thoughts. And thank you all so much for watching. See you all next time.